Here we are, chapter 14 of the Creakers. The sun's just suddenly come out, so I'm going to be a bit blinded. Oh, okay, I might have to kind of try and duck around it. Anyway, okay, should we do it? Let's go. Chapter 14, Human Spells. Lucy couldn't hold it together any longer. She'd been staying strong ever since the day it all began. She already lost her dad. Now hearing the creatures say that she might never get her mum back was just too much. So Lucy did the only thing a person can do when there's nothing more a person can do. She had a good old cry. She howled and wailed, sitting on top of the washing basket with the four hideous creatures trapped underneath, listening to her sobs. The tears started filling up inside of her swimming goggles, but she didn't dare take them off. She definitely didn't trust the Creakers. "What's the kidders doing?" said Scratch. "What a rotten nose," said Sniff, plugging his floppy ears with... what a rotten noise, said Sniff, plugging his floppy ears with his long fingers. I'm crying, you horrid things, Lucy sobbed. "Crying? What is crying?" Sniff asked. And out of the corner of her teary eye, Lucy could see it, all four Creakers peering up at her through the bars of the washing basket. "Haven't you ever seen anyone cry before?" Lucy sniffed. "No," the Creakers said together. "We be creaking when kidders are snoozing. We never see a crying woman befores," explained Grunt. Lucy wiped away the tears that trickled down her cheeks and sniffed up a sob. "Well, crying is what you do when you're really, really sad about something," she said. "Crying is bad?" Gruff asked eagerly. "Us Creakers usually be liking the bad stuff." "Actually, my dad used to say that crying is a good thing. It's when all the sad stuff inside your mind builds up so much that it starts to leak out of your eyes. It's good to let it out," said Lucy. The Creakers went quiet beneath her, like they were really thinking about what she had said. "Sometimes I think I might have too much bad stuff inside my noggin." Sorry, that's one of the Creakers. "Sometimes I think I might have too much bad stuff inside my noggin," admitted Scratch, peeling a bit of skin from his itchy scalp and popping it into his mouth. "Every night it's creaking here and creaking there, scratching, snatching grown-ups one day, dozing kidders the next." His voice started to sound rather strange, almost like he was trying not to laugh. "I know what you mean," said Sniff, who started giggling a little more. We all be doing is the nasties night in and night out," agreed Gruff. And with that, the three of them cracked up in fits of laughter. Lucy stared down at them. What horrible creatures, she thought, laughing at someone who's upset. And then she remembered what these Creakers were from the backwards world, and that's when when they laughed, it actually sounded like crying. So did this mean that they were now? So did this mean that now they were laughing, they were actually upset? It was all very confusing and rather odd. "Pull yourselves together, you twazzles," hissed Grunt. "The kindling be putting you under kindling spell, making you all humany and washy-brained. Naughty human magic." He glared up at Lucy through the bars of the washing basket. "I'm not putting them under a spell," protested Lucy. I don't know any spells at all. Humans can't do magic. I just told you a story, that's all." "Exactly. Stories are magic. They put ideas in your noggin. That weren't in there before. They make you think all different about the world," barked Grunt grumpily, and the other Creakers snapped out of Lucy's story spell and came back to their rotten senses. All of a sudden, something seemed to happen that made Creakers shift awkwardly. Their wrinkled ears pricked up like a cat hearing a mouse squeak. Then Lucy heard the church bell chime in the distance. What time was it? Lucy started counting. "It's getting early," Grunt said. "The dark be nearly over," said Gruff. Let us be getting back, began Scratch. Well, finished Sniff. Nope, Lucy said, teetering the straps of her goggles. She shifted around until she was comfortable on top of the basket and stared straight at them in the mirror. You're not going anywhere until you tell me what you know, why are you here, and what are you going to do with our grown-ups? The church bell stopped. It was 5 o'clock, almost morning. Tell her, Grant, it's the only way. Sorry, tell her, Grant, it's the only way, said Guff. We'll be dust if she does not let us going back. Dust? Lucy asked as the Creakers pressed their ugly lips together tightly. She could see they weren't going to say any more. She tried again. Tell me everything. You're not, or you're staying here. There was silence as Grunt thought about what to do. He was caught in a rotten pickle, though actually Grunt loved rotten pickles, especially when it was a mouldy cheese sandwich. This was more like being caught in a fresh strawberry for Grunt, which he hated. Tell him, Grant! Tell her, Grant! Whispered Sniff nervously. Yes, Grunt, Lucy said. Tell me what I want, and I'll let you go, but I won't ask you again. What have you done with the grown-ups? All wrong, then the Grunt. All wrong, then Grunt be telling, and Trixie kindling, but Grunt be getting in troubles for this, Grunt muttered. Troubles be better than dust, said Sniff, trembling a little. Grunt sighed and ran his claws over his spiky nailed back. It be simple, easy to understand. We Creakers, we be hating them stupid grown-ups, he said. Hating the grown-ups, said Lucy. Hating them like the smell of roses on a sunny afternoon. Hating them like the taste of raspberry ripple ice cream. Hating them like a warm, hot water bottle on a cold night. Oh, the Creakers agreed, shuddering. But why? Asked Lucy. Them stupid humans grow up, be taking all the stinking waste, and Lucy noticed that Grunt was getting very agitated as he tried to spit out these words. They waste it, he spat. They waste what? They waste the waste! All of the Creakers barked in unison. All the Creakers barked in unison. All the glorious rubbish, the rotten leftovers, all the stuff you silly humans use once and then get rid of. They take it and chucks it in the watery oceans, said Grunt. They bury it underground, added Gruff. Or they burns it all in smoky clouds, hiding it out of sight, out of brain, but worst of all, out of reach of us. Creakers, said Scratch and Sniff together. Right, said Lucy. So, what's the problem with all that? The Creakers bashed their stinky heads on the slimy hands on their slimy foreheads out of frustrating moans. Isn't it obvious, you silly kindling? Answered Grunt. We Creakers don't just love the stuff you be getting rid of. We need it. It's what war works on, Gruff explained. All them things your grown-ups be taking is rotten and nasty and wants out of their homes. We Creakers want to have it. Oh, I see. To rescue it, said Lucy. Yes, they barked. That's why we be snatching up all the grown-ups, taking them away, just leaving the messy kindlings behind, Grunted explained. You little muckers know how to make good muck, Gruff said approvingly, and you not be clearing it up. We be able to come and take all the mess we want now. We takes it back and builds stinkful homes. You make homes out of rubbish, Lucy asked. Oh, yes, said Gruff said enthusiastically. We make the worst rotten homes in all of world. Big smelly ones, where the walls are made of lumpy cardboard egg boxes and the windows out of fizzy-wizzy bottles. I get pure banana, pure rug, said Scratch. And my pillows is plastic bags stuffed with empty tin cans, boasted Sniff. Oh, I see, said Lucy. She tried to imagine their homes, but for the rubbish she would throw in the she tried to imagine their homes built from the rubbish she would throw in the bin. They sounded rather awful to her, but the Creakers seemed very proud of how disgusting they were. So if we let your stupid grown-ups go on hiding it all on the ground, went on Grunt, or the oceans, or the sky, we'll be having nothing to live by anymore, Gruff finished. We won't be able to survive in world. Lucy took a moment to really think about everything they'd said. She thought about all the mess that she made and where it went when her mum threw it away, and about all of those truckloads of rubbish bags she used to see her dad drive off to Whiffington Dump each day. Now the kindling be letting us go, like she promised. Yes, said Grunt. Before the sun turns, dust is all, blurted Gruff. Be quiet, you twit, snapped Gruff, shoving Gruff so hard that Lucy felt the washing basket wobble beneath her. You be telling her our weaknesses. The sun. Dust you? Lucy asked. Her brain was whirring. Do you not like sunlight? Grunt sighed, and in the mirror Lucy saw him shoot Gruff a nasty look. The sun be too nice, he grumbled, and warm and lovely and kind. Our black skin be too fragile to see it. That's why we live in warm under the bed. Sunlight can't get to us down there. We be turning to dust if we gets caught in it, explained Sniff, reaching into his pouch and pulling out a sprinkle of dozy dust. You mean that dozy dust is made of dust as Creakers, Sniff said sadly, placing it back into the pouch and pulling the string tight. That's be why its magic works so good and powerful. Lucy thought of all the time she had a little golden crumbles in the corner of her eye when she had woken up. She never wondered what it was before, but now she suddenly had a strange, uncomfortable feeling in her tummy. That dust meant that a Creaker had lost its life. They might be rotten, nasty-looking things, but Lucy was beginning to think that they weren't that bad at all. Look on the bright. So look, it be the bright, cried Gruff, pointing his flabby claw towards the silver. Look, it be the bright, cried Gruff, pointing his flabby claw to the silver of the warm orange light that had just crept in through Lucy's curtain. Their time was up. Oh dear. So the dust, the blow, that's the Creakers. When they get caught in the sun, they turn to dust, and they can use that dust then to make children fall asleep. Oh my god. So anyway, is that going to be the end of them? Is that the death of them? We'll find out on Monday. Hope you enjoyed that one. See you later.